Over the last 3 years, macOS has seen a remarkable 60% increase in market share, making it an attractive target for cybercriminals. And it's an exciting time to be a part of the macOS cybersecurity community. And here I am. My name is Kseniia still. And I am a malware research engineer at Moonlock, cybersecurity division of MacPaw. Today, I'm going to show you the story about stealers targeting macOS. We will discuss their delivery methods, their evolution, their evasion techniques we have been observing in our lab over the last few months. And consequently, after this presentation, you will be familiar with the main functions attackers may use in their code targeting macOS, not Windows. And also, we will discuss, as I said, delivery methods, people behind campaigns, and you will be able even to track stealers' evolution without fancy cybersecurity tools. And first of all, I would like to emphasize that this presentation was built in cooperation with my teammate, Mikhailo Grebenyuk. I'm so grateful for his help. Misha, you're rocking it. And also a massive thank to my Moonlock team for their contribution, and special shout out to our true bosses, Fixel and Huva, these two office cats. Always keep our spirits high and occasionally our keyboards warm. So experts say that the best way to start a presentation is with jokes or kittens pictures. Cats were shown to you, and we can move to malware. Apparently, while macOS enjoyed the reputation of being the most secure operational system and almost untouchable platform, the tides are turning. Conversations with malware developers that were made by my fellow friend and cybersecurity enthusiast Gonja has revealed a new reality. And here we can see some claims. We can see some claims? Hello. Claims of macOS stealers developers. We can see they said Mac is very popular, Mac is the future. Pinger wrote that my goal was to prove that macOS is not as secure as everyone thinks, and damn it, my goal for this conference is almost the same as Pinger's goal. Moreover, I'm even going to scare you with some charts and our internal statistics on detection rates among Clean My Macs users. And we will also take a look at heat map, and we will see the most affected regions. In our lab, we've got used to seeing match adware and Trojans, but lately our attention was caught by such a trend, these stealers, so we decided to investigate it more deeper, and now I will show you statistics on unique stealer samples we've been observing for the last year, and we can see that in 2024, there is staggering 3.4 times increase in stealer samples. To put that in perspective, February alone saw almost 1,000 stealer samples. It's as if cybercriminals have declared it as a gold rush year for macOS data. And now I'm going to show you how the impact on users has grown from 2023 to 2024. Early on, detections were low, but starting in 2024, we see a significant rise peaking around March. This slide also highlights an important correlation between unique stealer samples we saw on the previous slide and affected users. So you can see it's like a direct link. And now let's take a look at the heat map, as I promised. we built it just to understand the global distribution, and to build it, we took the percentage of detections per country, and we took it from the total 100% detection, specifically focusing on stealers. It's worthy to note that this heat map illustrates stealers detected exclusively by Clean My Mac and Moonlock engine, so it may not represent all stealers globally, because we know some people use other antivirus solutions, some people don't use at all antivirus solutions, so these numbers can be higher. Due to our policies, I can't share exact numbers, but it's thousands. And here we can see that the USA and France are the biggest target right now. But let's not get comfortable thinking that it's happening only there. We can see that it's a growing threat, and other countries are also impacted. We can see here Ukraine, India, Spain, Italy, Great Britain, Brazil, etc. And now let's define macOS stealers. I can guess that some of you may know what stealers do, but let's just go over through main capabilities, specifically on macOS. So first up is phishing for credentials. Attackers often craft deceptive prompts that look exactly like real macOS pop-ups. And users think they are just installing or updating software, but actually they just handing over their passwords to attackers. Probably, if I say, raise a hand, who will enter their credentials here? And none of you will raise a hand. But if I ask you, maybe your parents or grandparents will do it, raise a hand, please. See, I know it. I know this pain because my father, he's my own honeypot. He's falling for all sorts of scam, and yeah, so I have my own honeypot. Going next, let's discuss what data attackers can target. And here we can see stealers dig deep into system directories and macOS-specific applications and extract valuable information from browsers like Safari, Chrome, Edge, Opera, etc., from crypto wallets, and also secure data stored in keychain. After that, there is system profiling. Adversaries use macOS's built-in tools to gather users' hardware and software configuration, and this data can be used for further personalized attacks or can be sold on the dark web forums. It's especially dangerous when we are talking about high-value individuals, like people from government or CEOs, etc. Finally, data exfiltration. On this slide, we can see it compresses data via DITA command and exfiltrate it via HTTP connection to a remote server. Well, now we are on the same page with macOS and can moving forward to come back to my story. Initially, we saw simple code obfuscation, but last trends include like more advanced features and more complicated obfuscations. And in June, we observed adversaries changing and adapting their evasion techniques almost weekly. For example, they encoded their malicious software in hexadecimal to evade signature-based detection, when they switched to a juggling case, and soon after they encoded only parts of their code to further complicate detection efforts. And really interesting, who are the people behind such complicated techniques, and why don't they answer on Telegram whenever it's school time? So we had a theory, it's script kiddies or teenagers, but we're not only these evasion techniques, but we also noted like one interesting feature. It's a ledger life module. And here we are. This time threat actor developed the malware that is capable of looking for an original ledger life application on infected device and replaces it with a malicious clone. An infected ledger life shows the user a phishing window where the user enters data from a crypto wallet. And here, let's pay attention on 58 string, and we can see the mistake, like guys used the word waller instead of wallet. So it was pretty easy to understand that something wrong with this application. After entering the data, infected ledger life, they obfuscates C2 and URL and exfiltrates data to this C2. One more interesting feature is that while running, infected ledger life sends user info and execution statuses to another one, C2. So now from that point, it looked more advanced and interesting. By the way, the first source we have seen the ledger life feature was Telegram, as you can guess. Actually, Telegram can be a great tool to be up to date within new features threat actors implement during particular periods of time. And it's the thing I promised you on the beginning, that you can track evolution of stealers even without fancy cybersecurity tools. Here we are. We were able to create even timeline just from Telegram. So we can see here they added collection Safari cookies, new 40 web wallets, ledger life module, etc., etc. So actually, this timeline inspired us to investigate things deeper. If we can see something like that here on surface, so what we can understand from underground. And we have analyzed more than 4,000 stealer samples, and here is a video of my universe. Why it doesn't work? I don't know. Do it. So it's beautiful and it's a video, just imagine that. It's like a universe of our malware samples we analyzed, but in the video we have to see like stealers' families and groups of them. We divided them into groups by features we saw in code, and also first seen dates and brand impersonation. So this clustering helped us to identify patterns across different campaigns. Some of the intriguing findings from this analysis we'll discuss next, and let's start with the first case study. Is a self-destructing macOS stealer. This malware disguises itself under the well-known entity Empire. What makes this case interesting is that it employs a self-destructing feature, and this stealer incorporates anti-virtualization and process termination function, another feature we have seen historically in Windows malware. So we can see how Windows malware migrates to macOS. And as you can see from the code, it checks if it's running in a virtual machine or sandbox environment, and if it detects it's in a virtualized environment, the stealer terminates itself instantly, avoiding analysis. There is much more to uncover about this threat, so I suggest you to scan the QR code and to see the full article. Now let's dive into another attack method, fileless payload execution over a network. Think of it like a ghost. There is no trace left on the system, making it almost invisible for standard defenses. So it can bypass traditional static signature detection. It all starts with a harmless-looking app.dmg file that drops a macOS binary onto the system, and once it runs, it communicates with C2 server and downloads additional payload. What's happening under the hood? What we are looking at here is a snippet of code where the malware makes an HTTP request to a specific server for the instructions, and this is how attackers are moving from static signatures. Instead of bundling everything in one file, adversaries just delivering payloads whenever it's needed, dynamically, on demand. And now let's talk about Rodrigo. That's my favorite part. Rodrigo is not our new colleague from Valencia. It's a Russian-speaking actor that made quite a name for himself in the underground forums. And Rodrigo's lack of discretion is his Achilles heel. And actually, he provided us with valuable information, just sharing screenshots of his Stealer panel on the underground forum. So here we are. We can see that the panel is pretty advanced and user-friendly. And the most valuable information here is a build a button. The build a button allows the threat actor to generate customize samples, tailoring it to different targets or evasion techniques, making the malware more flexible and harder to detect. And remember my universe of malware, so it was possible just because of this feature, because you can generate like thousands of samples, like tens and thousands. So, going next, what's interesting here is that we, as malware researchers, were able to find a command and control server from one of the Stealer samples we analyzed, and we saw the login panel, and the guy didn't hide /assets, so we found logo, and we could make like a direct link between the sample we were analyzed and Rodrigo by himself. So the logo might seem trivial to you, but it's a part of the branding. They use it to attract affiliates and partners in crime. Rodrigo is like the CEO of a criminal enterprise. He is seeking for partners on the underground forums. He needs like Russian-speaking individuals with a reputation in hacking communities. So it's not that easy to contact with him if you are not hacker. He also offers 40 per 60 revenue split, allowing affiliates gain a percentage just with spreading malware through different various channels like SEO poisoning or Google Ads. And this is a prime example why you shouldn't always trust Google search results, as cybercriminals may leverage it to push their malware to the top. And here is a great example. Malware-infected cracked apps are topping Google search results, making it easier for unsuspecting users to download them. When users search for things like cracked macOS apps, they are often led to sites like this, which are packed with malware. My colleague Nastya, on my rehearsal, said to me, Ksenia, but nobody is looking for apps like that. Like nobody just Google it, like cracked macOS apps. And I was like, Nastya, remember about my father. He does it. And in the end, you may ask how exactly these stealthy malware applications can infiltrate so many devices. And the answer largely lies in social engineering. All these stealer samples have one thing in common. They bypass macOS's security features, specifically Gatekeeper. And in our lab, we often observe a typical Gatekeeper bypass technique where the malware displays a fabricated security prompt and guide the user how to override it. So these visuals look like legitimate macOS prompts, making them highly effective at deceiving users. So what's the takeaway of all this stuff I said before? While Rodrigo is a fascinating case study and it's just a tip of the iceberg. After Rodrigo decided to sell his stealer with the whole infrastructure, we noted the drastic increase in stealer samples, including new obfuscations. And if previously we laughed at clumsy attempts to avoid detection with hexes and case juggling, now we saw guys are constantly developing, they are constantly learning. They started invest much more money in their tools. They create communities, teams. They offer benefits for their workers. So it's insane. And now analysis takes much more time than it was before. 2024 proves to us that stealers are not just another one malicious software targeting macOS, but it's a wide business model that works and brings stable incomes. And as Rodrigo said in his interview with Gonja, it brings him like $30,000 per month. So you can imagine these numbers. And that's a nice example of the phrase, he loves best who loves last. Because we laugh like at their clumsy attempts, and now like $30,000, okay. Over 2,000 unique samples we saw for the first 2 quarters in 2024, and it's a staggering like almost 230% increase from the previous year. And this is no small jump. It shows how quickly attackers are adapting in targeting macOS. So we need to stay one step ahead. And yesterday I was on the great talk of Mike and Sarah, and they like encouraged people to collaborate because they said like, we can see the whole picture because everyone has their own like piece of puzzle. So I also encourage you to collaborate, and you can scan this QR code and always write to us, and I will be glad to have some research together. And yep, I hope you found this overview insightful and, dare I say, a bit entertaining. Stay safe and keep your firewalls strong, unless you have updated to Sequoia, if you know what I mean. Thank you.